So today in this video, I'm going to show you guys how I built my isolation box that I use in my professional recording studio to try to silence my tower computer as much as possible.
True Sound Studios is in your ears.
So welcome back to the True Sound Studios YouTube channel. I'm Weezna, and today I'm going to show you guys how I built that isolation box. So in the past, I've always had my computer in a different room, and that is to keep the noise of the fans or the hard drives or whatever else from, creating noise in the control room while I'm trying to record or mix or master. So in my new studio, I want to have the computer actually right next to me, and that's because I used to run these long 20-30 foot extension cables for USB or whatever, and I had just a lot of driver issues. So to try to clean up that whole problem, I'm just going to have the computer right in the room with me. So by building this box, you allow great airflow throughout the computer, but also minimize that noise that the computer makes. Whatever is going on inside that tower, you don't have to hear it. Okay, so let's get into this video. Okay guys, so I just laid this out just to really quickly show you the basic idea of what we're going to be doing. So obviously I got my tower in the middle of this. This is all 3/4 inch plywood, and what we need to do is, on most towers, okay, it's not every single one, it's going to pull cool air from the front and then push it towards the back. So right now I have this big CPU cooler, my case fan, my power supply, and then my case fans is all moving air in this general direction. Now, I'm gonna try to isolate all that, and then obviously when the fans do kick on faster, this tower just makes a little bit of noise, and in a totally dead recording studio situation like I'm in every single day, this is actually what I hear, and that's what I wanna try to noise reduce by building this case around it. How it's gonna work is I'm gonna cut out about 3-4 inches here, and about 3-4 inches here, and then also up here and here. And so what's going to happen is cool air is going to pull in from this way. It's going to come through this section that we notched out, and the cool air is going to go through the case. Then the hot air will come out the back. It'll go through this section that we notched out and down through here and out the front of the case. So this all works great, but all we've created is a box to put our tower in. So we need to noise reduce this. The first way we do that is by isolating the mechanical noise, the mechanical vibration that is from this case, this tower. So by doing that, we can add foam at the bottom and at the top of the case to isolate the tower from inside the structure we're going to build. So mechanically, when this vibrates just a little bit, it's not going to transfer to this big wooden box. So after we mechanically isolate this, we then need to make sure that no air is going to move outside of the case. So we don't want any air coming and passing by the side of this. We want all the air to go through the actual tower. We're going to add some of this acoustic foam, and we're going to add it like this and squeeze the whole thing together so that air really can't move on the side of the case. We're really going to force it to go through the middle of this case tower. And then we're also going to use the same foam. Now, I like this foam because it has ridges in it. It kind of will help the air move through this a little easier than some of the ones that are like the dimples. And we're going to place this foam in these channels. Now, placing the foam in the channels on the top and the bottom of it, we create a small gap where the air can flow through this channel, but the sound gets deadened as it moves through by being absorbed by the foam. And that's going to happen in this channel back here, and in this channel up front here, so that any of the noise that is inside of this tower case doesn't transmit through the case, vibrate in the case, or anything like that. We just totally isolate this computer now, and in the end, we shouldn't hear anything but whispers. Now, the last thing we have to do is, because there's only 4 fans already in here that deal with the actual cooling of the computer, now that we've added all this foam in these channels, we're going to slow down the air. So we need to add some additional fans at the rear where the intake is and at the front here where the outtake is to help move all the air in there. Otherwise, you might find that the hot air is exhausted, but not enough of it is coming out, and it could potentially actually elevate the amount of temperature that is inside of this whole unit. So after we get done with all that, when you fire this thing up, you shouldn't hear any noise. One of these will be the intake, so forcing air in. The other will be the outtake, forcing air out. So what I did was, because I'm using 3/4 inch plywood, I measured 3/4 inch. That's where the bottom pieces will go. Then the fans will fit in here. As you can see, I marked these out where the fans are going to go. And then there'll be another 3/4 inch piece that'll go right on top of the fan. So essentially the fans will be smushed, kind of fit in there between two pieces of wood, and I'll just glue them. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and use a jigsaw and cut both of these out, come back and make sure that these fit, and then we can start assembling all the walls and cutting all the other pieces of wood. One of these will be at the bottom, this one will actually be all the way at the top. Okay, so I cut one of these out. You can see these fans fit in here really nice and snug. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cut the other piece of wood. Okay, got both of the holes for the fans cut. So 2 fans here, 2 fans there. And now we can start assembling this whole box and then also start cutting out some of the other pieces that we'll need. Okay, I know it's a little difficult to see, but this is actually where the computer is going to sit, in here. So all this. And then we're going to leave these edges open. That's where the foam is going to go on the side of the case. So the computer will be sitting down here. This will be the base of it. And then up front here, this needs to be cut out to allow airflow to come in. And then back here, this is the same amount of space. Up here, we're going to make a piece of wood at about a 45-degree angle to kind of help transition this hot air being forced out of the back of the case. And we needed to kind of get it to go up and then back out the other direction. So I left this gap here for that, to be able to put some sort of 45-degree angle piece of wood. Okay, so now that I got things kind of put together, you can see I've notched out this middle board here and this one much more up here. So what's going to happen is nice fresh air is going to enter through here, come down this channel, go up through this hole, and then this is where the computer will be. So the case will sit in here, the exhaust hot air will come out this way. It'll go up through this much bigger vent and then out the front of the case. And then once again, this will all be assisted by 4 additional fans. So now I'm going to go ahead and actually start screwing this together. Oh, also on the front here, I cut out this section here, and this is so I can put, you know, the power reset LEDs and stuff like that from the actual case. And then also, I might have the fans that are just for this case on its own power supply, and if so, you can control it all from the front here. That's why I notched that out. Yeah, so now it's time to actually assemble this, screw it together, so that we can get a little further. Okay, so change of plans. I'm going to actually go ahead and make this face plate first. So this is the plate that's going to house the power switch, the reset switch, and then the 2 LEDs from the actual tower from the computer. So I'm going to do just going to drill 2 holes for the front here, just for the LEDs to make it nice and simple, and then somehow try to cut these square holes for these switches, so the reset and the power switch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first, and then I need to add one more switch, and that's going to be to turn on all the rest of the case fans. Okay, so here is the back of the case, is the back of the computer where all the connections are. I made this piece out of, it's probably like 1/4 inch plywood, and just made this, it's gonna go like this, just to help direct some of that air up so that we can get it out the front of the case. And then additionally, up top here, because I wanted to do another 45, kind of thought about it afterwards, I cut this piece here, and I'm gonna do another 45-ish angle right here, So we kind of like are channeling air up and out this way to go out of the front of the case. Debating on putting another piece here, not sure if that's needed or not, but this is what I got so far. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue these into place. Okay, so we got our opening up front. Now this is the exhaust, so heat's coming out of here. So just need to orientate these fans so that they're blowing air out. There you go, that's the fans. That's what it'll look like from the front. I'm probably most likely will put some sort of LED behind these fans just so they look cool. And then at the bottom here, this is the air intake. So airflow going in. So put this one here and there we go. So that is the intake. Okay, so now we need an area for obviously all the cables that are hooked up to the computer. They need to run through something. So we're essentially going to create another one of these like baffle boxes. Okay, this is essentially kind of what we're building is a baffle box. It's a box that allows air to move without transferring the sound. So now we need to cut a hole in here so the wires can go through, they can go up and they can go back out. And that's all going to be done in the back of the case. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut out about something about this big to be able to run power, all the USB, firewire, you know, all the cables that need to run through here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that out. Now it's time to build the back part for this cable management area. Okay, so from the back here, I already cut all this lumber. So this is gonna go here. It's gonna be 2 pieces on each side. So one will run up here. One will run here, and then there's a piece of plywood that I cut, this thing, which will go here. So once again, the cables will run through here, come up, and then out. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and screw all these pieces to here and go ahead and create this. Okay, so you can see here, this is where the cable is gonna come in from. So the cables will come here, they'll go up, and then out this way. So you put this on, and they'll come out of here, and that creates that channel again. And this time though, I'm gonna put a ton of foam inside of here because I actually don't want any of the air to move. This is not a channel for air to move. This is just for the cables. So that's why it's much smaller. After you put all the foam in here, there won't be really much space. I gotta build some sides for this entire box, this entire enclosure, because right now it's a big open thing. So yeah, I'm gonna start working on that. Okay guys, so hopefully this makes a little bit more sense now that I got this back plate on. I actually cut both sides. Got to start gluing in all the foam now. Okay, so I just wanted to get a shot of this while this is gluing. Also, I'm in my new house and there's actually not any lights out here, so it's gonna get dark real quick. But anyways, you can kind of see these air vents, you might call them, that continue all the way down into the chamber, and they're all lined up so that hopefully this kind of nicely allows the air to move. Okay guys, so it's been quite a few months since I've had a chance to work on this. My studio still isn't done yet, so this hasn't been a priority. But anyways, I bought some more foam because I had ran out, and I finally went ahead and added all the foam that is necessary to this box. So also you'll notice that I changed the direction of the foam. Obviously air is running this way and all these channels are running this way. And that's because I want to create a really good seal around my computer case. So the computer case sits in here. I want to have as much of this cool air flow through the computer case and not around the computer case. Because if it's flowing around it, it's not really pulling all that hot air out of the computer, and that kind of defeats the purpose. So now we have our computer in here. Now we need a place for all of our wires to run in and out of the computer, and that's what this back opening is for. And just like this labyrinth of air and foam, the same thing is back here. The cables will run in through here at the bottom, and they actually come out at the very top. So let me flip this around and show you what that looks like. So to kind of seal this up nicely and to ever have access to it, there is 6 screws that you just need to take out. Then if we look inside of here, this is where all those cables will come from inside of the case. and then they'll travel down here and then come out of the front just like this. So all the cables will come out of, this is actually the top of the case, so they come out of the top of the case. To seal things up even further, I went ahead and cut this piece of foam to fit in here to kind of elevate the height of this. And then last, there's another piece of foam that fits right here. And that's just to give a very, very small gap to be able to run all the cables through, because I'm not actually sure how much cables I'm going to be running in and out of this new system. And so this kind of gives me options on how many cables are going to come in and out of this computer case. And depending on that, I can add or get rid of some of this foam. But we just need to make sure that we have enough foam in here, because the noise from our computer and our computer fans aren't just coming out of here, because essentially this is just another pathway for sound to come out. So adding or subtracting some of this foam will be, obviously a big part of making this case really quiet. Okay, so now we're looking at the back of the case. Now these are the two fans that are driving air into the case. This is the bottom of the case and this is the top. So what I did is I took these two fans, I zip tied them together, and then I also just soldered the positive and negatives together just into one wire, just to make it a little easier. And you can see that, nothing special, but if you look in there, that's all the air channels, I guess you would call it, with the foam that is allowing our air to move through. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill 2 holes in the back here so we can connect these 2 back fans and the 2 front fans together. And we're going to add a power jack to be able to run external power, because even though this is only 4 case fans on this whole thing, I don't really want to pull it from my power supply from my computer. So I'm just going to power these 4 fans on their own power supply. And then to the front here, you can see we got 2 more of the fans, and at the very top, I put a blue LED strip in. So that serves obviously no other purpose than the looks, but it does also let me know that the cooling fans are on. So every time I turn on and off this switch, the light and the fans turn on and off. And this way, obviously it is very important if I'm going to put my computer in this box that I remember to obviously turn on these fans before I'm going to start up my computer, because essentially I just made a hot box for my computer if these fans aren't running. So really quickly, just to show how loud these fans are, I have the microphone for this camera about 6 inches away, and this is all 4 fans running. So I really didn't want to get too much into the wiring of this, but just to quickly explain, this black and red wire, this actually comes from the jack that's on the back side of here. That's where you plug in the power supply. And then this group of black wires with the white stripes on them, both of this is one set is for the back fan and one set is for the front fans. And then these silver wires here, that is for the switch. So essentially all the switch is doing is just connecting and disconnecting these wires together. And that is really the simplest way to explain how I wired this. And then up front here, this is the little switch that turns on all 4 fans and the LEDs. And then finally, to power all the fans and the LED, I'm using this. This is a AC adapter. It's 12 volts. It's actually 2000 milliamps or 2 amps. And this is definitely overkill, but this is just the only power supply I could find. You probably could get away with just a single 1 amp or 1000 milliamp power supply, but for right now, this is definitely going to be enough power to power all the fans and the LEDs. Okay, so this is the final look at the case. Both the back fans are in, both the front fans, the LEDs, all of the foam, and then obviously I mounted the computer. I put it in here, and it really barely squeezed in between this foam. It's a really good fit. It's definitely not moving. Got plenty of clearance here for all the cables. Air is pulling in through here. It's coming up here. It's going right through the front of the case. Back here, well, it'll pick up all the heat from all of the hard drives and the CPU and whatever. Then it'll come out the back here and it'll get sucked up through the top, and then on its way out of the front of the case. And you know, that is it. And then the one last thing I haven't showed you yet is I took the ribbon cable, which has the reset button, the power button, the power light, and then the hard drive activity light that I mounted onto the front of the case. But this is it. This is the end of the build. And you know, I got the top for it here, which also has the foam on it so that when I put it over here, it covers up all of this area. And that is it. And I will definitely do some testing of this at some point, but it's gonna take me some time. Like I said, still haven't finished my studio yet, but as soon as I get this up and running, I'll make a quick little recap and just show you guys how it's working, and maybe I can even do some like temperature test and show you guys how well it is cooling this computer. Okay guys, so there you go. That is the isolation box. Now, there's a couple things you guys could do to even minimize the noise even further. Is obviously buying some even better cooling fans. Those fans I think I bought fairly cheap. I think I got all 4 for maybe $30. So you could buy some even better, quieter fans. That would definitely help out. And then additionally, obviously putting that a little bit further away from you would also help eat up some of that noise. And then the last thing is, if I would have thought about it even more, I probably would have put both sets of fans in the very back of the case. That would obviously eliminate the most amount of noise. But I know it sounded louder on camera, but when it's set up in the room and it's on and running, I can't even hear it over the ambient noise. Now we'll see when I get into my studio what it actually sounds like. So anyways guys, as always, you know, I really appreciate you watching these videos. Obviously if you want to see more, subscribe, like, you know, you guys know the drill by now. And if you guys are looking for even more information on all things recording, mixing, or mastering, check out the over 170 videos right now on the True Sound Studios YouTube channel. So if you guys have any comments, leave them below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in another video. So thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, click that like button and consider subscribing for more content. So not only do I make YouTube videos, but I also produce tracks and I can mix and master your music. So once again, thank you for watching this video. I'm Weezna and True Sound Studios is in your ears.